Everybody ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. So, welcome everybody. This is our first ever podcast. Yay! Cheers!
Yay! Oh yeah! Cheers! Cheers! All this stuff.
This is our true crime podcast, and every week one of us will bring in a character or a story that we want to talk about, and then the three of us, while we imbibe in our beverage of choice, will talk through what happened, why it happened, who the main players are, who the victims were, how stupid these people were, whatever.
We're going to dive in and dissect it all. That's what we're going to do.
Yes, we are.
We're going to have fun while we do it, too.
So we'll go ahead and get started, but first let's introduce everybody. Ellis.
Hey, my name's Ellis.
Hey, my name's Greg.
And I'm Chris. Let's start with our first case. This one was selected by me. And this is one that actually does sort of scare me because it was just such a random selection. Some of you may have heard about Israel Keys. Israel Keys was an Alaskan citizen who ended up being caught.
You know that place where you can see Russia from?
Yes, you actually can. But there, so...
I can see Russia from my house.
Okay, this is true crime, not politics.
Have you been there lately?
So Israel Keys was caught after abducting a girl at a coffee shop in Anchorage, Alaska. Now, what made this so headline worthy was after he was caught, it was realized, oh, there's more. So he had other victims. And so this becomes this serial killer kind of vibe. Most of the shows, though, don't cover all of his victims or all of the history or even the things that he's admitted to. So that's why I wanted to do this one. Because number one, the first statistic I'll throw out there is that 10%, only 10% of murders are by a complete stranger. And in his case, 100% of his were complete strangers.
I know, it's scary.
Yeah, so, and he would play games. So he would come up and go, well, so for example, Samantha Koenig is the last one that he abducted and killed, and who was eventually arrested and tried, or not tried, but arrested. He said, if she's there by herself, I'm gonna abduct her.
Yeah, he played games. That's what's so creepy about it.
Yeah.
Played games with these people's lives.
I think the ones before that, it was, hey, if the husband and wife are both home, then I'm going to take them. It was just random. I mean, it was almost like he was on something and just. So anyway, so that's the whole.
I think he was just high on it.
Well, if you watched his progression, I mean, it was building to a climax. I mean, he was getting bolder and bolder and more aggressive and more dangerous and more violent.
But I think he was always that violent, his entire life.
Well, so for the sake of those watching or listening, let's go back just a little bit. Because there were 11 victims total that he has confessed to.
That we know of.
There's another 8 that he's suspected of killing, but he's never claimed and it's never been proven. And we'll talk about it in a little bit why it was never proven. So 19 total victims, either admitted to or suspected. And to your point, Greg, we expect more.
A lot more.
Keys was arrested in March of 2012 and then interviewed for the next 9 months.
Which is a very hard watch if you haven't seen any of it because he's so arrogant and so privileged and so entitled.
Well,
and he basically has all little FBI people puppeteers because I just won't tell you this if you don't do this for me, and I want this, I want that. And they just catered to every little whim. And it was a game he was playing with them too.
Let's go ahead and play part of that July 2012 interview now.
Right, so that I have control over what information is released in that, and do it on a piecemeal basis. If I feel like things don't work out at any point, then obviously I'm not going to be given any more information.
Well, I think part of it is they wanted to get as much information as they could.
I know, but I think if they would have stopped playing that game with him.
Did he kill 3 people or 30? We kind of need to know. And if we need to sort of stroke his ego a little bit to do that, then let's do that.
Playing a game.
He was playing a game.
That's all it was. And when he got tired of playing that game, look what happened.
I think I guess we probably should bring everybody around to why we don't know more about this stuff.
He was arrested in March, and in December 2012, without any explanation, he took his own life, leaving only a cryptic note drawn in his own blood.
I feel that he thought, I'm done.
Mm-hmm. He was done.
I give them all I want to. I have enjoyed this, and I know what my consequence is going to be on this. I've given them what I want to. And he said, I want an execution date.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to push him, and he was like, you're not going to give me what I want, so I'm going to be in control.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're kind of saying sort of the same thing. His control over the situation was waning. He wasn't getting what he wanted. And because he did, and you'll see this in his interview. He's like, he doesn't want us doing exactly what we're doing now. That's what he didn't want.
Right.
That's what he said. Only to make more again.
He did. He
controlling the narrative.
I don't want no podcast. Did he say podcasts about it?
I don't want no
documentaries or media attention. I'm not doing this for that.
That's exactly what he wanted.
That's exactly what he was doing.
I'm not 100% sure. I
am.
I know some of those people. I won't say anything.
Look, let's not talk about the people you dated.
Narcissistic.
But what made this so bold, though, is he created a kill kit, and he put them in orange Home Depot things, and he put guns, he put knives, he put rope, whatever he needed. And as he was traveling the U.S., as he so often did, he would just bury them places.
So there are still kill kits out there that haven't been found yet because of we'll get to it later, but how he is no longer with us. Let's put it that way.
So the first victim that I found in my research was that he admitted to was in 97 or 98. And this was a girl, she was like 14, and he raped a girl. She was between 14 and 18.
She was a child. I don't care how you look at it. She was a child.
Basically a child. And he raped her. And so he didn't kill her. He just raped her. Well, I say just, but...
Where was this at?
This was in Maupin, Oregon. So you have to keep in mind, he is in Alaska for the most part. Mm-hmm. I think he did live in Washington at some point, but he was primarily in Alaska. But all of his crimes occurred outside of Alaska. His early years, he was essentially raised by, I guess, Christian nationalists is probably the best way to put it.
Well,
where they lived a lot off the grid. It was, very religious bound. And I think that, again, supports keeping him in check because, there's the parents and the environment that he's in. But I think it also that he was very isolated. It wasn't like he was growing up in, suburbia. He wasn't in LA. He wasn't in New York. He was in the woods somewhere.
Dig deeper, though. Why was he so isolated? I mean, think about that. He had friends. He bragged about killing things in front of them. He's probably very narcissistic in his behavior as a kid.
Yeah,
People don't want to be around that type of individual for a long period of time, especially when they're always right and they're aggressive and they're doing things that you're like, wow, that's not normal. You tend to separate yourself from that. So you've got this ticking time bomb that's going, I've got no restraints on me. And when he was in the military, I think you're right. He had no restraints. You at some point when you're growing up, you find yourself.
You're actually promoted for that kind of behavior.
He enlisted in the military.
Yes.
What did he do for work after the military?
He was he had his own construction company in Alaska.
Do you have any information about it? I mean, was it successful? Was it a real construction company?
Yeah, I mean, it was not a major player, no. But I mean, for Alaska,
when you say construction, though, I look at
he built sheds and homes and.
Okay, so small potatoes.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's not a large company.
Almost like a glorified handyman.
But he made enough. He made enough.
Appeared to be that he had a great life, even doing that though. He was also
but not rich.
A robber in home invasion, so
he
was totally broke.
20 to 30 bank robberies, or I'm sorry, 20 to 30 burglaries and 2 to 3 bank robberies. So he was obviously coming into, but I don't know that was done for money.
Well,
I think
of it
that
this
was
way.
just part of the thrill.
I thought it was part of the thrill. I would probably say that.
I think it's twofold. I think it's killing two birds with one stone. You would have to own your own company in order to be able to do the things that he was doing. Because
Right.
he could not have been. When you have your own company, it's a lot of work. You're building that up. You're responsible for a lot of different things. If you're over that and you really don't, you just got these people working for you, or however you're looking at it. If he's getting money from all this other stuff, he don't have to do a damn thing. He just has to be around once in a while.
Yeah.
He couldn't travel like he did and put kill kits all over the United States and stalk people and play these games. I mean,
But it just seemed like he was like a transient. I don't think he was like traveling.
He was traveling. He wasn't. Those were trips. He had a home in Alaska with his girlfriend and his daughter, and that's what's really. So you want to start talking about getting really crazy?
did he bury somebody in a shed?
No, but
That was the girl.
Samantha Koenig is the one that he kidnapped, and he took her to his house, put her in the shed.
Keyes then sexually assaulted Koenig, asphyxiated her, left her in the shed while he went back inside and packed for a cruise he had planned to take departing that same day. And she remained in the shed until he returned.
So I mean, but that's what I'm saying. He had a stable home. His daughter, I think, was 5 or 6 at the time of the last crime. So it's not like he's just on the lam and going from town to town. He would go places, fishing trips, whatever, hunting trips 2-3 times a year.
The fishing and the hunting trips.
That's generally, I think, was his cover. He would go places where he could hunt, he could fish, and
But
that
he called
became
it
his cover.
hunting, but he wasn't really hunting. He was hunting people, hunting his next victims.
Perhaps. But I mean, he may have very well been hunting and fishing and doing those things as well. But I think that was to
Did he ever
kind
go to
of
Wilmington?
no, not that I know. of. I did not see anything. Most of his stuff was in Oregon, Washington. Let's see where else we've got here. Texas, Florida. If you buy into him being the Boca Killer, which he may have, but I don't know.
We
I
should
don't know.
create a
Sometimes they're just like throwing
Vermont.
everything on him that they couldn't find.
We should create a movie with 2 serial killers who are stalking each other. And I mean, let's think about it. When he was a kid, he even sat there and told everybody, "Yeah, I went up in the woods with my friends, and he took his cat, tied a cat to the tree, and he shot it in front of all his friends.
Yeah.
Like just killed it." And then he was bragging about like, "Oh well, no wonder nobody wants to hang out with me anymore." Blah blah blah. And we were talking about how things escalate, and it shows you if you look back at any kind of crime. I mean, look how many times we've seen this on all those shows that we're watching. They start off small, and they get a little bit bolder and bolder, and it's like, oh, I've killed a cat. Now I want to kill a bigger dog, or now I want to harm a person. Now now that's nothing to me. Now I want to kill somebody. Now I want to make a game out of it, and it just keeps going and going. And I really feel like if he wouldn't have got caught when he did, it would have gotten so much worse. It's hard to even imagine how much worse something can get when you look at the last big murder he did.
Welcome to Arise Entertainment, your gateway to unforgettable play. Board games that spark joyful chaos. Tarot that whispers truth and lights your path. Trivia that unleashes mythic mayhem. This is what epic feels like. Shop now at Arise Entertainment. Arise Entertainment. We set the stage. You steal the show.
Yes, we refreshed. It wasn't like we changed scenes. We just got more drinks. Just to let everybody know.
Now it gets interesting.
We took a commercial break so that
We're 2 in.
we could get some more drinks. We probably should have said that earlier. Just said, it's time for a commercial break while we refill.
Okay. It's time for a commercial break while we refill.
Oh my God.
Miko.
Okay, so enough about Keyes for a moment. Let's just talk in general. Crazy? Was he crazy? What was he? I mean,
I don't think he was crazy.
when you watch his interview,
I think he totally.
He seemed just
People define
like
crazy in many different ways. If we're saying he was crazy, like he was, something was wrong with his brain and he was, just couldn't put sentences together. No. He was highly intelligent. He knew what he was doing, but he had some kind of a mental disorder. And we're not at any level to diagnose that, but
so. Let me go through some of his victims because I really do think that we need to put some names on here because I really hate that the other shows haven't done it. And these are confessed to or suspected of.
should we name names?
Yes, I think we should. The victims, I think we absolutely
Can
should.
we do just first names, maybe?
Okay.
I mean, just they may not want to open them can of worms again.
I'm just going to go on a limb and say they might not be listening to our podcast, but
I dream big. I don't know what y'all do.
but
I had to have a
I
king size bed. I dream so big.
I believe in honoring the victims and giving voice and all of the victims.
Well, you know what? You go for it.
So I think everybody knows about Bill and Lorraine. About Bill and Lorraine Courier, Vermont. That was the next to the last victim, and then of course Samantha Koenig, which was the last victim. We don't have some of the names for the earlier victims, even though he admitted to them. Mm-hmm. We do have some names for some suspected. There was, and honestly, one of them, one of the earliest victims was Special Olympics skiing medalist Julie Harris. She was 12, and he's suspected of killing her. 2007's the Boca killings. Randy Gornberg, Nancy Bucicchio, and her 7-year-old daughter, Joey. And then, of course, in 2009, Deborah Feldman, 2012, Jimmy Tidwell, which is interesting because, so Jimmy Tidwell, the reason he's tied to that one, that was February 15th, 2012. When did he kill Samantha Koenig?
In June or
February 1st, 2012. And then he fled to
I
Texas.
don't remember my dates.
Yes. But then he fled to Texas. So 2 weeks after Samantha Koenig, he's in Texas. Jimmy Tidwell is killed. And there was also a burglary in Texas. And some of the witnesses say that he was wearing a hat very similar to the hat that Jimmy Tidwell would wear. And so when you take all of that into consideration, and I really just like giving some homage to the victims. So many people talk about him and what he's done and sort of elevate him up. And I think part of what we can do is to elevate the victims a little bit.
I would consider this elevating him.
Well, more people know his name than they do his victims.
It's true.
And that's kind of my point. I mean, name a victim of Ted Bundy. Case in point.
We're not talking about him right now.
Doesn't matter. Pick another one. Pick another serial killer. John Wayne Gacy. Name a victim of John Wayne Gacy.
A girl.
Are you sure?
I mean, if I watched the documentary, I would probably know the names of them.
But my point is the victims should get as much or more notoriety than him.
Yeah, but you know why. Let's not play that game.
I know, but I'm saying there can be a balancing act.
You've got one person killing all these people, so their name is mentioned all these times, versus one person that got killed by this person.
But not to diminish that.
No, not to diminish them at all.
That's not really the reason. The reason is because people like things that are gory and they like things that are...
Yeah, but
that's why people slow down at a car accident.
I mean, I don't like things gory. I think this is like crazy.
You don't slow down and look at a car accident?
These people.
It's like having a teacher.
No, I don't.
First day of class, the
Is there
teacher
a
probably
body over there? You don't do that?
No.
Because I do.
Oh my God, no, I don't.
I don't want to see a body over there, no. But like when you get to school, the very first day, you're going to remember your teacher's name. But the chance of the teacher remember everybody in that class, that's just the same thing.
I mean, when I roll past an accident, I go, ooh, is that a total loss?
Yeah,
Lord help me, Jesus.
Yeah,
How
I know.
much
You're
is that
thinking about it
gonna
from
cost
an
you?
insurance perspective.
How much is that going to cost you to get that fixed?
Why do people watch shows about crime? Why do people watch shows about devastating nature? Why
I don't know. Why do we watch? That's a great question. Why do we watch shows about crime?
Because we're curious to see how far our race can actually go. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the depths that people actually do out there? And it's things that you've never seen before in your life. It's just shocking, and it's the shock value. It's the same reason why you ride a roller coaster. You love the thrill of the roller coaster.
You have TV shows that have been going on for years about murder, and then going to the crime, and then them finding it.
Yes.
Could say where you could go ding ding. But I think that's just our generation. That's why we like it and watch it. I mean, all those shows just come on and Monday, the weekdays, and Saturdays and Sundays at 7, 8 o'clock, right before I went to bed. So that's now before I go to bed, I can sit and watch the actual documentary.
I don't know what y'all were watching. I watched Ultraman when I was, so that was all about fighting monsters.
Demons in today's world.
Yeah. But I think so I get what you're saying, Greg. I think there's kind of some of that, and I like the fact that Ellis calls it murder porn, because that is really kind of what it is. Like with me, I watch it, so I got stuck on Forensic Files because I really wanted to do.
I think you can say that.
Yes, I can. I wanted to find out, how are they doing this? Because with my bend and my job, it was always about trying to figure out root cause. How do you determine what the actual thing was that caused all of this problem? And so that's kind of very similar, but in a very different human kind of aspect. So I got pulled into that. And then, of course, it became, well, now to look at all this, and now I'm just shocked, because I watch it and I'm like, that could have been the grandma that I used to see every day walking to work or whatever. It's just, there's an interesting aspect to that of what makes them do that. What makes them want to kill? Is that, you kind of see what I'm saying?
I have a question for
It's
you
not
guys.
so much how do they solve it, but why do they do it?
I have a question for you guys. Given the circumstance of it's your life or theirs, could you kill somebody?
And scene.
Well, okay, so
That you can call it end scene if you want to.
okay, now, well, hang on. That's a really good question, and you and I have had this conversation before. But honestly, I don't know that I could, but I could severely cripple somebody.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing. It's easier for me in thinking through this.
Remember, they don't delete the internet.
This isn't live yet.
Which means everybody knows you do porn.
No. Okay, stop. Hear me out. Mentally, hear me out. You don't know what you will do in a situation like that.
I agree.
You don't know. But let's just take a step back. If you had a gun, I think it's a lot easier for you to do it. But if you had a hammer, could you do it? There's a big difference.
So there's a delineation there. Okay. I go back to what I said before. I think it would be really hard for me to even consider, even in the worst, it would have to be so bad before I could even begin to think
You're
about
tied
taking
up
my
in
life.
somebody's basement that kidnapped you.
If I could get
You've
away,
been down there for 5
I
days.
know, but if I could
know they're
knock
gonna
them
kill
out
you.
and get away, I would do it before killing them. But killing would not be my first option. It just wouldn't.
If I knocked them out,
that's-
they ain't gonna be able to get up for a long time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I would certainly hurt them, maim them, give them brain damage. I don't know.
Had a chainsaw, they wouldn't walk.
Especially if it was somebody I loved. If they were threatening somebody that I loved, and that would be a whole, or mom, dad, whoever.
That could be a whole
would be
nother podcast.
You
different-
see why we like crime? Listen to these two.
What?
Don't
time
call
are you
me
going
when
to
you're
sleep
ti-
tonight, Alice?
If you get out of your restraints in the basement of wherever you're at, and you call me talking about help me, I'll be like, don't call me, girl. And you said
The camera shows there's some strange people on my doorstep wearing masks. Have fun.
don't call me because you think
Go get them some candy.
I mean,
You'd
you
be
know,
like,
there's
bitch, get over here with the hammer.
always that stand your ground law.
Let's ask the flip side of that then. How does somebody who goes out, hunts, and kills somebody live with himself?
Well, they have what they call the dead sleep afterwards. Takes them like 3 or 4 days of sleeping to come out of it.
Well, that's just because for some people, all of the aggression is just released at one time, and there's just so much that they just completely exhaust themselves emotionally. But what I'm talking about is you have somebody, let's talk about Israel Keys, who kills this couple in Vermont, comes home, crawls in bed with his wife, has dinner with his daughter, goes about his business.
Because it's empowering.
Him.
No,
But
it's empowering to think, I just did that, and they have no idea. And it makes him
that what
a
it is?
god in his own head.
Yeah, but I would believe that. It's just he can do that.
Yeah, I believe it's easy for him to do
Okay.
it.
You see it a different way.
But
You're
what-
seeing it as, how can this person actually do that? And to him, it was just like any other old day to him.
But what would allow somebody to do something so heinous, so vile, that probably 99.5% of living beings would look at them and be like, just kill them?
That's your answer.
Hang on. And yet they go on just like, it was almost like, oh yeah, I went to the movies and I'm back home.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
just
it's like,
named it.
well, it's
What?
99% of the people would not do that. And that
Right.
is that's the whole mental thing of it.
But
I'm above all these people.
But
I can do
I'm
this.
not really getting at what's sort of the reason to justify it. I'm getting at what would cause somebody, how depraved do you have to be mentally to do this? I mean, pick anybody. We talked about Bundy earlier.
My number
Everybody's like,
is-
oh, well, he was so nice. He had a girlfriend. They were going to get married. She's like, I had no clue. It's like they have this dual life. And I can barely handle the only life I've got, let alone a dual life. And to be able to handle a dual life that's so vile,
That was his hobby.
it almost seems that way.
He would go hunting and fishing. How would she know what he was doing? How would she know what he was doing? He would leave and be gone. And unless he distributed those behaviors at his house,
I mean, but
he probably didn't need to. When he got to the point where he needed to, he would go off and do it.
How much mental compartmentalization do you have to have?
I mean, maybe there's the whole thing of, we see one side and we're like focusing on just the one side. But maybe in his head, he had this awful thing, not saying it's good, but he had this awful thing in his head, and he had this whole need and want to go and kill and rob and rape and arson all these people, right? But he also had to have this other facade, right? So I'm like, I have a girlfriend and a wife and a baby, and I go and I have this life, and I know I can't have this awful life here, and I have to separate the two. So I have to completely have this very good facade up front, and I know I'm doing right, I'm living right, but all these awful thoughts and awful things that I have in my head, I have to somehow get them out. So therefore, I do it on this side of it. And that's why this side never knows what happened. Oh, I can't believe he did that.
Hang on, I'm going to challenge something you said. I'm sorry, I know I interrupt you, but I don't want to lose this thread. You said, so there's this sort of split duality of his life, and I'm going to live right, and I'm challenging that because I don't know that it was I'm going to live right versus I'm going to do what I think is generally acceptable.
Accept it moral.
That's it.
This is my moral side.
I know
Th- this is not
what
me
everybody
living right.
accepts.
This is me living.
Except I like the
This
word
is me projecting the type of person that is generally acceptable in society.
so that I can now
So
go
that I
off
can-
and do these
Right.
awful things that I have in my head.
Think of it this way. He's having an affair. The difference is when he goes out and does whatever he does, he don't have to worry about them getting attached to him. He doesn't have to worry about them coming back and popping up in his life and his wife finds out or girlfriend or whatever else. It's just like a man having an affair. He keeps it completely separate. When he's at home, it's a completely different. This is how I have to live. This is how it's accepted in my little bubble. This is the society. Now I'm removing myself from this little bubble and I'm protecting that bubble because I want to go back to it. I want to do all this heinous stuff. I get my jollies, my adrenaline rush, whatever you want to call it. And now I'm going to go back to my little bubble and all is well until I need to do it again.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Can both of those sides exist and be true to nature? Meaning, I am a loving husband or father, but I'm also a brazen killer.
I think they can, honestly. I feel that that's very possible because we all have different needs that we have to do different things that fill these voids. But for some people, they have that void. They love that. They need that. But then they need to separate themselves from it. They want to damage this. So this is all the stuff they do over here nobody knows about. It's all dark. It's all murder, whatever else. Then we can come back to this. I have a question for both of you.
What?
Jeffrey Dahmer. Just listen.
Lord, that's two
just-
podcasts.
Please just listen.
What?
Do you feel that just hear me out, if he would have met somebody who was obsessed with just being with him and loved being with him and they were just together, do you think he would have continued his killing? Do you think he would have killed that person? Now, that person that's with him had to be on a spectrum himself to be so wrapped up with this one person that it made him feel like he's never going to leave me. We're together. We're happy. Everything's good. Would that have solved the murder spree?
I don't know. Let's look at a commercial and see what it tells us.
Answer the question.
Hang on.
Answer the question.
I'll give you mine. I don't know that it would have. And I say this because I feel like when you look at Dahmer specifically and the history there, the hole that he was trying to fill, the emotional void, was so deep and so painful that I don't know that anybody could have filled it.
Let's
I
say
don't know that
somebody did.
There was
I don't think there
Somebody
is a
else that was
person
just
who
as
could.
messed up as him that needed to find somebody that they were just happy
I don't think
together.
I
And
don't
they
think
grew-
he could have.
So you think he killed because he had to?
I think he killed because the emotional void he had.
hello. He killed the people so that they never would leave him.
Thank you.
Even though the people loved him, he still killed the people.
Right.
They did leave. Like they had to leave to go do life.
But no,
together.
but like-
he didn't understand that. He ate them to keep them from
He
leaving.
had relationships in there, and that wasn't enough.
But
So
he
I don't-
told us. He sat right there and said, "Everybody leaves me. Everybody left him." And
He said
was
that.
But then he was saying that everybody left him. He wanted the reason why he had killed him was to make sure that they didn't leave him.
Right.
Then they weren't leaving him. He had no idea. But his thing in reference to his whole life and the way that he had grew up in his environment was that people left him. So even he never knew that these people weren't going to just leave him. He automatically felt that they were. So therefore he killed them and then ate them to make sure they never left. So to fill a void, there wasn't a void
But
there.
he drilled a hole in the side of this boy's
There was
head
a
and poured
void there.
acid in it, trying to get him brain zombied enough to stay with him forever.
Okay, we're off topic here and going on to another
But I-
killer.
I'm trying to make a point
Well,
that
make your point.
the point is I think all these people are searching for something to fill this void. That's all it amounts to.
Absolutely, I
think
totally agree.
this guy we're talking about tonight, it was an adrenaline rush. It was the thrill of it, the hunt. It was a thrill of. That's all it was. But I think at the end of the day, if he didn't want to go back home to a girl and a child, he would not have stayed with that girl and that child.
But I think I keep coming back to.
Understand where you're going.
I understand where you're going, but to me, there's a difference between wow, I'm lonely because nobody wants to be around me very often, to, I just need to kill and eat people so they don't leave me. To me, I mean, that's like a huge spectrum there.
Another killer.
Yeah, we are, but it's kind of the same thing. Let's go back to Keys. It's the same thing. Okay, so what void was he filling?
It's gonna be 3 minutes before he's done.
It can't be I'm lonely. He had the girlfriend. He had the daughter. So it can't be a lonely thing.
It wasn't. It was an adrenaline rush.
I think it was something deeper. I think the childhood. They don't talk about the childhood.
I do.
More about the childhood, because I really feel that your childhood affects you as.
I agree. And when I delved into his childhood,
I think I had a great one.
That's when I found that it was basically Christian
alcoholics.
nationalists. They were basically. I mean, it was kind of the ones that don't go visit them because they'll shoot you, kind of thing. It was that type of a we're off the grid. We're everybody else are just sinners and we're just going to stay here. And so there was that kind of a segregationist childhood that he had of there's us and everybody else kind of thing. But would that be enough to trigger some kind of an emotional breakage that now I can kill people? Closing statements. Ellis. Israel Keys. Closing statements.
Closing statements on Israel. He was addicted to the enjoyment. I'm sorry. He just wanted to kill and hurt people, and he was okay with it. Obviously, something in his childhood set him up for that in life. His environment, or his heritage, or maybe he saw too many wars, and he thought it was okay.
Greg?
Closing statement. He had a godlike complex. He got off on doing this stuff. And he has now positioned himself as some type of a role model for other individuals that have these same feelings to now take it a level up. That's my closing statement.
I don't know that I agree with the role model statement. However, I do agree that he was a bad person, that he has no more morality at all. But I'm not sure what the cause of his downfall was. But I will say this. In the end, and I think this was kind of his plan all along, in the end, justice was not served. And people can say, oh, well, yeah, but we would have put him to death anyway. Okay, but
I don't think that may not have happened.
So now we've got the whole.
I say good riddance and save our tax dollars $1 or two for not having to feed him for the next 25 years while they wait on death row.
Then we've got the whole thing of, okay, so what is fair?
Right.
What is justice? Is it living out your life knowing you did wrong so we could tell you that every day? Or is it taking your life so that you can? What is it? And
he made a decision.
But at the end of the day, I don't think we saw justice here because we did not have the closure. We did not have the trial. We did not have the evidentiary reviews. We did not have all of these suspected killings come out. We had none of that. He took that away because he wanted final control. That's my final statement.
Role model.
All right, guys, anything else?
I agree with the final control. He was being a narcissist and he wanted final control. That's why he offed himself.
And I think other people now look up to him that are in that same situation.
Maybe.
How could I outdo him?
All right, guys. Until next time.
Bye.